discussing a lot about what makes good community and how we want, like what kind of atmosphere do we want at our small group. Because a small group in the church is where the real relationships happen. When we walk in the door here, we can say hi, we can say bye, we can have a few conversations about the weather, how it's work, this and that. But there's a lot deeper us underneath that. It's like we're tips of icebergs, and we see the tips Sunday morning, but there's a huge iceberg underneath the water that we don't ever see unless we get into a more intimate setting like a small group. So lately, been thinking a lot about what kind of community we want to create. And so I don't know if anybody knows, I work with Martin's Flooring. I'm a flooring installer. And a lot of times when we go out to install a floor, we find surprises under the existing floor. So, for example, you see walls here. That paneling right there is the front face of that wall. That is not holding anything up. That's the face. That's what we see. We paint it, we make it pretty. That too, these are the things that you see in a house are all non-supportive of the structure of the house. I had a job the other day. We were supposed to go install a backsplash. The first thing we were supposed to do is take off the old tile, prep the wall, and put on new tile. So an hour into it, we realized we were not going to be able to do this job because we took off the old tile. We found mulch, basically, because the boards that were used to put on the front of the 2x4s were completely rotten. So we were like, what's going on? Something's wrong. Before we took that tile off, we did not know there was a problem. I actually said to my partner, I was like, why are we taking this off? It looks good. But the lady wanted to remodel. She had, other designs in mind, and so we were like, okay, this is our job. We're going to pop these tiles off and put new ones on. What had happened is somebody who designed the house, somebody who put the house together did a bad job of putting the facades on the front of the house. Basically, the facade of the house is the part that you see. It's stucco. My job is to put the tiles on the wall. My job is to make it pretty. My job is not to build the structure. But if that structure behind those tiles is rotten, the house is no good. And the problem with that is tiles are not transparent. You can't see through a tile. So, for instance, if there's something rotten behind that black wall right there, none of us is going to know it unless we tear that front off and look inside. And so I was thinking about all these things, and I was like, hey, babe, I got a good analogy for, talking about our community. Like, if we don't see inside, if we don't expose what's going on inside our hearts, and we keep these facades up, we could be rotting behind the facades, behind our smiles, behind our religious Christianese, all the things we tell each other in here. There could be a rotten something festering behind our faces, festering behind all the things we say and do to be, religious. And I said, we want to prevent that from happening. We want to get to a point where we are a community at Freedom Street, in the body of Christ in general, where we know each other and we don't have fear.